Hi, it's Angela Long, one of the design team members for Tonic Studios. I just wanted to share with you how I put my memory book together using the die set that was in Tonic Studios magazine. So I've cut out all my pages ready to save time, but I'll explain to you how I folded them to make the book. So let me put them one side a sec. So altogether in total I've used the main die in the set, and I've just cut out 12 full size pages out of 216 GSM, the Craft Perfect ivory white I've used. So I've cut out 12 of them, and then out of the 300 GSM card, because this is for the outer cover, I've cut out 2. So altogether I'm going to be using 14 sizes of this die, of the outer die. So to make the front cover, let me put these one side. To make the front cover, I've got my first template that I was just trying out. So to show you what I've done, I want to make my cover that shape. So that's all I've done. I've taken my 300 GSM and I want to cut off the end panel on both of these. So let me just grab my guillotine. So that's all I'm going to do is trim off on the score line on the straight edge of my die cut. I'm just going to line that up. And I'm going to trim that one off that one, and then trim this one off. So them two now can just go in the bin. And I want to score on this first score line and on the score line on the end flap. There's also an extra score line right at the beginning, so I'm not going to do it on that one. I'm going to do it on my next solid one. So I'm just going to fold them. I'm just going to fold them over and crease it, and then this second one then from this side, I'm just going to fold on that and crease that. And I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side. And that's all I need to do now is glue these two panels together, and that's the front cover made. So let me just get my glue a sec. You can use double-sided tape if you want to as well, but I just like using the glue because I'm just gluing such a big panel together. So that's all I'm going to do is just line that up. Make sure it's lined up on the outer bit as well. And then that's your front, that's your main outer cover done. But I've got the beveled edges on my outside, but on the inside you've got the raw edges. So what I'm going to do then, I'm just going to trim down one of the pages of the 216 GSM, and I'm going to use it to line the inside. So that's all I'm going to do here is I'm going to trim it off so it's only going on this front flap here. So I'm gonna, I should have done it that way. So I'm just going to trim that off, lining it up. So that's going to go on the inside of that panel. And then I'm going to do the same for the other side. It just gives a neater finish. If you wanted the inside of your book to be a different colour, then you can just use pattern paper or a different colour card. But I'm going to keep this all in the ivory white. What I'm doing as well now, I'm just trimming off the 4 score lines, because I want this to line the inside of my back page as well. So I'm just trimming that down. And again, I'm just going to glue these in place. So then you've got the neat beveled edge on the outside and the inside as well, to give a neater finish. I'm just going to line it up. And the last piece in the centre. Make sure I got it going the right way. And you can trim it just a little shy of the score line, and then it'll sit in and fit in neater. So then you've got the neat finish. Your inner pages will be glued on the spines, so you don't need to line the spines. So that's your front and back covered in. So I'm just going to put that to one side, and now I'm going to work on the pages. I'll put them back in there. So what I'm going to do, I think I've made it sound more confusing than what it really is, but I class this as my first page to go into my book, but no, sorry, the first page that I'm going to make, but it's going to be the first page I put into my book, and that's going to open up like that. So we're going to need 2 pages of your 216 GSM again. Sorry, I seem to be all fingers and thumbs trying to do this, but I've got to try and work out what I've done as well. So I'm going to fold this end strip, and I'm going to crease that, and then, yes, that's, if I turn it that way for you to see, this, where I put the double-sided tape on here, that's going to be the part that's going to glue inside my book. So I scored it on this last line and the one next to it. So it's this first, you've got your plain, I folded the edge strip, and then you've got your plain back. So it's the first there and the second that I'm going to score on. So again, folding it over and reinforcing it. And then the next one. And then scoring over it. So that's given me my left page. So on my right page, what I've done is I've trimmed off the edge strip. Oh, I've got my page there. So I'm trimming this side off, this last edge. And then I'm scoring it just on this first score line after my plain panel of the back. So again, I'm just going to fold it and crease it, and then I'm going to put double-sided tape along this edge and glue the two pages together. So let me just, I'm using easy tear tape for speed, because I could just tear this with my fingers instead of having to cut it with the scissors. But I would use the red liner tape because it's a stronger adhesive, so I would use that. So I can just tear that off. And then that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to glue it to the edge of this panel. So I'm just going to line it up with a crease on the edges. And then just glue it together. So that's my third page to go into my book, which will just fold up. This flap will fold that way and then go inside like that. But again, I'm going to cut for the lining on the inside. So again, I'm taking another page and I'm going to trim it down. Because this is going folding all the way over, I can cover these up as well now. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to trim off the edge. Then I'm going to trim off my back, and I'm trimming them just shy of the score line. So that's going to be my back panel, because if I do it in one, it may get bulky in the crease, so I'm just trimming it down. I'm going to glue it into two separate ones, so that it'll sit neater. So again, I'm using my wet glue, and then you've got the wiggle room to make sure that you have lined it up. So then you've left, because you've cut it a little shy, you've left enough room for your crease to fold neater. So then just going to add this to the centre. So it's going to cover up all your joins to give a neater finish. So again, lining it all up. And sitting on the side. But I'm going to trim it off. That's going to have double-sided on it, so that's going to be in your spine. So I'm going to trim it with just 3 of your score line markings on there. So I'm going to trim that. going to be for that panel. I'm going to trim the edge strip off, and then I'm going to trim the last score line off, which is going to be the part that I'll be gluing into the book. So again, lining it up top and bottom. So then that is going to close that way, so you can reinforce that crease. Then it folds in on itself. So that little black bit is there. And that's how it's going to go into your book. So you're going to need to put your red liner tape on the spine. But again, like I say, I'm going to use easy tear tape. So that would be the last page of your book, but the first page that you'd glue in. So that one would sit flat in the centre. You take your tape off and then fold your crease over, and that would be your first page in. I'm not going to stick it in yet because I want to make all my decorative panels to go on the inside. So that would be my first page done to go into my book. Sorry, there's not much room on my desk, so I seem to be all fingers and thumbs and in a mess as usual. So the centre page is going to open out, and again with the back panel for you to add on your decorative pages. So again, we need another tool, and let me just check how I've done these. Alright, I can see what I've done. So I'm going to trim off this end panel again. On the both pieces. And then I'm going to show you from on the back panel, your first score line and your second score line, they're the ones you want to crease, and that gives you your spine. So that's my first, and then next to it. And the same on the other side. again, just glue the two backs together. Making sure that they line up. And they just fold in on themselves like that, so you'll need to put double-sided tape on one side again to glue into your spine. So I think I'll put that on first. And then again, you just line, I didn't crease that one. You just line the insides. And to line the insides now, again, I'm just going to cut this panel off, so it's the front panel and your 3 score lines. And I'm just trimming it again a little shy of the score line. So let's line that side. And for the centre, I'm going to trim off this score line and just trim the end score line off. And the same to line this side. It's just the front panel and up to the 3rd score line. So that's your centre page, which would be the second page then that you add into your book, and again put into the crease. And then the first page, it just opens up with a pocket. So to do that, I've taken another page and I'm going to trim off the end panel. Is that what I've done? Let me just check. Yeah. I'm going to trim off the end panel. And then on the patterned panel, on the scalloped panel, I'm going to trim it off at the second score line. So I'm just going to trim that off there. And then I want to make a spine. So I'm going to, on the back panel, on my next score line, I'm going to score there. And the one after it. So I've got two panels here, which I'm going to glue onto the back page of my next page. So let me just check what I've done here. Right, so I'm going to trim off the end panel and at that first score line. So that's all I'm going to do is glue these two together. Let me just check I have done that right, yes, because that's going to be my spine. This is going to be my spine, so I'm going to add my double-sided tape onto there. I'm going to add my wet glue. Line that on there. So that's my front page. So this is going to be, I want to add my pocket on there, so that's all I would do is I'm going to line the insides. So again I'm going to trim off the end panel on that end score line. And then I'm going to line that up. On that side. And then on previous page I'm going to do the same for the other side. And I'm going to trim this one down so it's the same size, so I can glue the two together to strengthen the pocket. So I'm just going to trim that off at my first score line. I'm going to glue them two together. I'm not going to glue my pocket on yet because I want a contrasting colour inside. So I leave that one just in the page, and then when I've decorated that and put my contrast colour there, that's when I'd add my pocket on the top. But that would then fold like that, and it would go into your spine and glue into the sides there, and then this one would come over. So that's how I've made my main book. I'll do a separate video showing you the mats and layers on how I've layered each page, and then how to stick the pages in. But then your book would open up like that. That one would open, and that would be, you'd have your pockets to put your little tags in there. Then that page would move over. That one opens up to a double page spread, and then that one folds back over, so you'd have another panel on this side. Then this one would open, and it would open out further, and I had a flip photo coming down that way, and I think there was a plain photo on that side. So then that would fold up, then you'd have another large photo panel there and there, and then it would all fold up. So that's the basic book, and I link the other videos in showing you how to decorate all the pages. So I hope this was of some help to you. Sorry, my desk is a bit crammed and I've got to try and squash everything in, but I hope it'll, you know, give you an idea and show you how easy it is to put together. So thank you for watching, and show us your makes if you do have a go making it. Bye.